Good morning. Thank you all for joining. We're going to get started in just a moment. Please just give a moment to clear the waiting room. And as a reminder, when you are entering the waiting room, from the waiting room, please do remain on mute unless or until you are providing testimony or presenting before the board.
Doesn't matter.
What do you mean it doesn't matter?
I don't want to.
Give just another moment as folks are still entering from the waiting room. Good morning. This is an administrative hearing before the Entertainment Division of the Mayor's Office of Consumer Affairs and Licensing. Today is Thursday, April 10th, 2025. This hearing is being conducted pursuant to temporary amendments to the open meeting law. That is what allows us to meet virtually. This hearing is being recorded and will be posted to the City of Boston's website. We are joined this morning by the Executive Director of the Mayor's Office of Consumer Affairs and Licensing, Kathleen Joyce, and Director of Operations, Rebecca Fu. I'll read each item on this morning's agenda into the record in the order that they appear. I will then ask who is present on behalf of the applicant. You'll make a brief presentation regarding your proposal, followed by questions by the Entertainment Division, and testimony beginning with elected officials or their representatives. For members of the general public who wish to testify, please limit your testimony to 2 minutes, and please state your name, address, and affiliation, if any. Please note that the Entertainment Division has already received several written comments on today's agenda items. Each submitted letter is part of the applicant's file, and there is no additional weight given to oral versus written testimony. If you are planning to testify this morning, please state whether you have already submitted a letter, and please use your allotted time to provide additional testimony rather than reading the submitted written testimony, which is already part of the record. Begin with the first item that is on this morning's agenda. The applicant is the Pearl Group at Boston Landing, LLC, doing business as The Pearl, located at 67 to 69 Guest Street. The application before the Entertainment Division is to add the entertainment categories of disc jockey, dancing by patrons, trivia, up to 3 instrumentalists, and 1 vocalist for 7 days a week until 2 a.m. Who's present on behalf of the applicant?
Good morning, Attorney Green, Attorney Tyler Hensler here on behalf of The Pearl. Joining me is Mika Winder, the owner. She should be on.
Good morning. I'm here.
Hey, Mika. We are before the board today again for a live entertainment application for that 67 to 69 Guest Street location. The Pearl is looking to offer its guests, as you just heard, DJ, dancing by patrons, karaoke, instrumental music and vocal music, as well as trivia, in addition to the non-live options of recorded music and TV that they currently offer. The Pearl recently opened early this year, beginning of last year, rather. It's been going great. It's been going great, and they have been getting many requests from guests for birthday celebrations and private events with DJ or live music. They've been using one-day licenses to accommodate these requests, and they've all been successes with no issues that we're aware of, and we've heard no complaints. They've also been hosting a Thursday jazz series with live music, which I think is still going on.
Yes.
Yeah, and which has also been a success. So the Pearl would like to continue offering a wide array of entertainment options to its patrons, and we think that this application will give them the flexibility to do so. The hours are until 1 a.m., which is earlier than their 2 a.m. closing hour on the liquor license. All in all, this should be a fairly low impact application, as many of the abutters are commercial properties, that are empty in the evening hours and on weekends.
The way this will
Just
work.
in case you're
Um,
losing signal.
As for community outreach, we were not required to hold an abutters meeting, but instead we were asked to circulate flyers in the 300-foot surrounding area. We received no comments or complaints that we're aware of. The Brighton Alston Improvement Association also asked us to attend their meeting, but they canceled their March meeting, so we're actually meeting with them tonight. So the board will have correspondence from them, hopefully in the file, in time to consider that as well. With that, we're happy to take any questions, but thank you for your time.
Thank you for that explanation. A couple questions. I'm just going to jump right in and then I'll go back through our regular questions. The attorney, you said that the guests have been asking for DJ and live music. Is that for private events, like in a private room, or is that in the main area of the restaurant?
Mika, can you answer that? I think
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, there's an area in the main area of the restaurant where we've been hosting it. There's also a cocktail bar, which is also like a private dining room, where we'll also use it, whatever the guests are looking for that are renting the space.
Okay, so for purposes of the division's understanding, I know you went through this on the alcohol side, but on the entertainment side, Ms. Winder, can you describe for us the space, how you see it functioning primarily as a restaurant? When do you think the live music will be used? It's even though I'm in charge of both, but for purposes of public record and staff, if you could just give us a description of your vision for the space.
Sure. So the main dining room space features like a large bar area, which is probably like, I would say 50% of the seating is bar. But there's this one 6-person table that moves, that's kind of in a corner where we've been able to set up a DJ table or a 2 or 3 piece band. And so we've done it, like he said, during a private event. We had a birthday brunch this past weekend, so we had a DJ in for that. We have done the Thursday evening dinner and jazz series. We did, just like a random Friday night. Or in conjunction, like if we know that there's a show next door that has a music feature that we feel like would be attractive, the right age group, which is like, a mature demographic, then, maybe that's something we would say, oh, let's do music after that concert to like provide another thing for the community.
Okay, so that's not for private events. That would be for the general.
That would be for the general public. I mean, we've done it for both. We've done it for both private and public.
Okay, is there a private room?
There is a private. Yes, there's a private room.
I'm looking at the floor plan right now.
So like to the left of the front door, it's like pink and I don't know if it's colored.
Okay.
What
Yep.
you're looking at, but
Okay. All right, thank you. And you've been successfully using the one-day applications for the last 2 months?
yeah.
Okay.
And there's been no bother to the neighborhood at all. Like I said, it's more of an accent that people that have come have been like, oh, we're glad to have something like this around here. That's kind of like not collegiate. It's a little bit older and more mature.
Okay, let me see. I'm just taking a look at your lease.
Sure.
It looks like there's some conditions in the lease about the type of entertainment you can have. I'm just looking at it right now. So in your lease, it says there's some restrictions in the lease around entertainment. It says you can't have ticketed events for touring artists. So just wanted to flag that and make sure.
Yeah, of course. Well, for touring artists, no, we wouldn't want that at all anyway. I mean, we're not big enough for that. Like our capacity is like 160. So like I wouldn't be like trying to pack people in for a touring artist. It's really just been like complementary to the evening, kind of like to keep the bar going a little bit longer. The kitchen closes, um, by 11 or 12, and just to keep the drinks flowing and keep people like having a good time. It hasn't turned at all, and it won't turn into like a dance club. So
Okay.
like where we ask for dancing in the license, it's just kind of like people standing at the bar that are able to move a little bit, but not like never that.
Okay, so
Never.
no moving tables and chairs for a dance
No, no,
floor.
no, no.
Okay.
Most of our things are stationary.
Okay. And tell me, who is the manager of record? Is it you?
Joyce Parlapiano.
Okay. And could you tell me a little bit about her experience
Sure,
with,
absolutely. She is a like 40-year industry veteran. She's owned a couple of restaurants. I can't tell you the name of them off the top of my head. But one in Fort Point and one in like Abington, Mass. But she's been around a lot. She has a lot of experience with booking live music. Actually, the last two bands were people that she knew from her past industry experience.
okay.
So she is yeah, she's she definitely holds the line in terms of, what's acceptable in the space and that kind of stuff.
Okay. And is there always a manager on duty?
Absolutely.
And besides Joyce, how many other managers do you have on staff?
3.
Okay. Um, and I know the area is mostly commercial, but should there be
Mhm.
noise issues that arise, how would people contact the premise? Email, phone? Do you have something written in place for complaints like that in real time?
We don't, but we can add something like that for sure.
Okay. That would be great. Often we get called or we get emailed,
Really?
and then we find it works best when we put maybe a neighbor directly in touch with the manager so that
Yes.
they can say, geez, it's really loud tonight. Could you turn it down?
Okay.
Um, So this is a new space,
Oh,
correct?
here's my video. Sorry. Yeah, it's a new space. We opened in the beginning of February.
Okay. And do you do any noise mitigation or soundproof?
Absolutely, we did. We did soundproofing on the ceiling because above us is the New Balance track facility.
Okay.
And so the space right above us is like a meeting space in a practice track. So we didn't want their noise and we didn't want our noise up there. So we definitely the ceiling engineers put some layers in between to mitigate that.
Okay. That's great. And let's see. Do you use promoters?
No.
Okay. Should your business model change in any way and you do decide to use promoters, just please contact the office.
Okay.
And do you have security staff or door staff on nights that there's concerts in the area or that you might expect a big crowd?
So when we've had DJ events, we've had a internal staff member to be responsible for that. Generally, my husband or we have a couple of male managers just to like hold the line and make sure that we don't go over capacity and that kind of stuff. But what we've done in the past at our other location is that if it's going to be a busy night, we'll hire security.
Okay.
Just to like walk the room, keep account, make sure no one's leaving with alcohol, especially when the patio opens. I think that's really important to make sure that, we're just monitoring that.
And do you have security cameras?
Happily. Yeah.
Do you know how long they preserve video for?
I don't.
Okay, it would be great if you could look into that. The reason
Sure.
we're asking is that should there be any sort of incident at the licensed premise, we are asking licensees to automatically preserve the video and not wait for Boston Police should they show up and do an investigation.
Is there a time that you want it to be preserved, like a timeline?
I think 30 days is reasonable.
Okay,
We're
I'll see
finding,
what we have and I'll see what's
yeah,
available.
some of the older systems or systems that aren't as sophisticated, sometimes they even rewrite every 48 hours.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes it's 7 days. That's not
Okay.
really, someone might, I'm not saying this is going to happen at your licensed premise, but we're seeing more and more incidents of people with allegations of a drink spiking or even an assault that the manager may not have seen, but they might decide 2 days later to go to the police. And then when the police go out to talk to you, you're like, geez, we didn't know about it and we don't have the video footage. And
Right.
I say on the licensing side, and try to say on the entertainment side, the videos preserving your video goes a long way to cooperation in the eyes of both the entertainment division and the licensing board.
Mm-hmm.
And we appreciate whatever you can do on your business side to work with us on that. It's very helpful.
Absolutely. For sure.
And then, should you have a big crowd, you were talking about, you have people working the door or security if it's a bigger night. Do you have a dispersal plan in place as far as at the end of the night, avoiding people loitering for ride shares? Is there some sort of, have you thought that through? Where do people go for Uber?
I haven't thought through the rideshare thing, and I did but we have a validated $5 parking garage behind us.
Okay.
But no, we haven't thought about that. But it's not a heavy trafficked area. I don't know if you're familiar with the track space. So
Yeah.
like if we were out there at 1 a.m., I don't think there would be any other traffic. Like when the concerts get out next door.
Well, several people were just removed, and now nobody has the ability to share screen or unmute themselves. We are now moving to a raise hand function moving forward. Connor has his hand raised.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Connor Newman with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. At this time, I'd like to defer to the board's judgment regarding the Pearl. Can confirm with what the applicant was saying. We did not require an abutters meeting. They've done prior engagement when they were first opening. We had them circulate flyers to abutters within 300 feet. We did not receive any negative feedback. They've been in contact with the Brighton Allston Improvement Association. We don't envision any concerns, but we're very pleased that they'll be meeting with the Civic tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Connor. Director Fu, Director Joyce, did you have any further questions before we move to testimony?
I actually did have a few questions, sorry. For the Pearl, do you restrict age groups after a certain hour?
Hello, I would need Mika to answer that question. I'll ask her to rejoin. Yes, they do. After the kitchen closes, so around 10 p.m. they restrict to 21 up and up.
Then do you know if there will ever be a cover charge?
Let me ask. No cover charge. And if that changes, we will alert the board.
I think that concludes any questions I have. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Are there any other individuals who would like to? Oh, yeah. Director Joyce.
Sorry, my apologies for that. I appreciate all the thought, Mika, you put into your business plan here. I just want to finish up what I was talking about as far as the ride sharing. Just keep that in mind as programming at New Balance changes. We want to make sure that people have a safe place to get into their car. It may not be an issue that affects you necessarily, but we're looking at it in blocks of different blocks of the city. I don't think it's going to be an issue here since you have the $5 parking garage, but as let's say there's a big concert down the block, there might just be a ton of rideshare showing up at the same time. So just to be aware of that moving forward, and reach out to us if you need help figuring out a plan for that, and we'll work with you.
Absolutely.
Director Joyce, Director Fu, are there any further questions? Are there any other individuals who would like to testify on this matter? You may please use the raise hand function. If you can't find it, it's under React in the bottom of your Zoom screen. We'll give a moment just so people can orient themselves to that function. And again, sincere apologies for what just occurred on the Zoom. We are. All right, if there are no further individuals who would like to testify on this matter, then the Entertainment Division will take this matter. Oh, sorry, David Green has unmuted himself. Mr. Green, you may please provide your testimony. You'll have up to 2 minutes to do so. Oh, you need to unmute yourself first. No, you're still on mute. I've asked you. There you go.
Okay. I'm David Green, 9 West Broadway. I'd like to comment on the plan for the rooftop.
Sir, we're not on that item yet. We're still talking about the Pearl.
Okay, I'm
That's the
sorry.
next item on the agenda. Thank you. Okay, if there are no individuals who would like to testify on the Pearl, then the Entertainment Division will take this matter under advisement and will issue a written decision. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now going to call the next item. The applicant is West Broadway Management LLC, doing business as the Cambria Hotel, located at 6 West Broadway. The application before the Entertainment Division is to operate background music and TVs on the roof deck 7 days a week until 1 a.m. Who is present on behalf of the applicant?
Attorney Tyler Hensler on behalf of the licensee West Broadway Management LLC. And joining me from the licensee team is Willie Gow, one of the owners. And also joining me are the members of the management company team, Kristen Jenkins, and I think Avery Sells should be in here too. As the board may know, but for the record, the management agreement between the licensee and Essex House Hospitality LLC, the management company, has been approved by the Boston Licensing Board and is currently pending at the ABCC. So we are here for a non-live entertainment license. We have applied for TVs, recorded music, and a projector screen indoors. There's a restaurant and event space in the building. For outdoor entertainment, we've applied for TVs and background music to be located mainly on the roof deck. The roof deck TVs will be on and will be kept at a very low volume, if not muted at times. And the music on the roof deck will also be kept at a low volume, a low conversation level to help, curate atmosphere or ambiance of an elevated, chic rooftop lounge, which is a unique concept to the area. We've requested entertainment hours of operation to match the already approved hours on the liquor license. That would be 2 a.m. closing indoors and 1 a.m. on the roof deck. We conducted community outreach for this application. We were asked to hold an abutters meeting. At this meeting held on April 1st, 2025, there seemed to be some confusion as to what we were applying for. Even though we've only applied for non-live entertainment, the possibility of live entertainment in the future, which is, again, not before the board today, dominated the meeting. There seemed to be some community, trauma carried over from the last operator on this rooftop, who apparently hosted loud music and dance parties. We were also forwarded letters that the board received, many of which were in opposition and dealt mainly with live entertainment. As this is a new operator and we have not applied for live entertainment, these should be disregarded by the board when voting on this non-live entertainment application. At this meeting, there was also some conflation of what constitutes non-live entertainment and live entertainment. Many neighbors voiced concerns about DJs. However, as we know, the DJs constitute live entertainment and are not part of this application. There were some supporters that appeared at the meeting and who even submitted some letters that I saw, who felt that allowing a business to offer entertainment options that create an ambiance was a good thing for the neighborhood and would promote vibrancy in the community. We believe that it is possible for this hotel and specifically the beautiful rooftop space to operate in a way that is fair to everybody. And we believe that our application here qualifies as just that, as we are asking that we be allowed to turn the TVs on and that light music play at a low volume. We believe this will make the hotel a more attractive destination for guests, while at the same time is respectful of the neighbors. And with that, we are happy to take any questions. Thank you.
All right, thanks. So thank you for putting it out there. We did have a lot of noise complaints about the rooftop previously. There was a lot of unlicensed entertainment by the previous managing group. We had a hard time contacting them. So, these are quality of life issues. While this is an amenity for this neighborhood that isn't, anywhere else in the neighborhood, we have to be concerned about how this is going to impact them, especially a roof deck, sound travels, lots of residents around. Can you tell us a little bit about you're requesting background till 1 a.m. outside?
Yes, just to match the liquor license.
Okay. So remind me, do you have live, I guess so you're not going for live, so I'm not going to worry about the
No.
live zoning questions. So what is your plan for responding to complaints in real time?
Kristen can help me with this, but we would provide contact info to the board and to anybody that asked of an on-site manager. If anything is too loud or anything, we would absolutely, listen to those complaints and respond accordingly.
Okay, I think that would be I think that's gonna I'm going to enforce that. The neighbors do need to be able to get in touch with you right away. As I said previously, we end up getting contacted. The police get contacted. We want residents to feel as if they can get in touch with you right away and not have to go call 911 or go to the police. So let me just see. What is the capacity on the roof?
Kristen, can you help me with that? Let me see.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I believe it's 240. The capacity.
On the roof?
I believe so.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't have that in front of me.
Yes, it's 240.
Okay.
Okay.
I completely agree that so I plan on having security in place. 3 people, someone downstairs to make sure that everything's managed outside, someone ushering people in and out, and then someone actually in the space. But if you could tell me the best way, I'll make sure the hotel, if someone calls the front desk that they have, there'll always be a manager on duty. So I'll make sure that they have the person that someone can speak to if they have a complaint. But do you have any other suggestions on the best way to go about doing that?
Do you have any sound monitoring devices that your staff will be using?
No, but I will. I can do that.
I think that's really helpful. Other venues, similar venues in the neighborhood that don't even have an outdoor rooftop, they do their own sound monitoring. They save the sound monitoring test results. Should a complaint come in, they can say we took this at somebody typing while I'm sorry, I think people should be muted. What I suggest is that you have a staff member at various times of the night go downstairs to the sidewalk and do a sound test. Save those test results. I think that should be part of your staffing and management plan.
Okay, that's good. I can do that.
Again, what you think is not loud upstairs, depending on the weather, depending on how sound travels, bouncing off buildings, it might resonate really in a way that is emotionally and disturbing to the neighbors. So you really have to think that through. I would suggest you do some research on that, especially if you're expecting the background music to be until 1 a.m. Voice is terrible. I know that where you're located, there's other noise factors too, but all that taken into consideration, you're going to have to toe the line on that. if a neighbor's complaining, you can't just say that it's the taxis and the ride shares outside. You're the noise that we can control. So we're going to have to put measures in place to make sure that your neighbors can exist comfortably without having to deal with this sort of noise pollution. Let me see. So I am concerned with the 1 a.m. rooftop in this neighborhood. We are dealing with a problem with an inside venue, also in South Boston, and the neighbors. It's literally in that noise. It's more of like a play and we get constant complaints. It's a burden on my staff. It's a burden on Boston Police. So we really have to work on that. And then do you have security? Tell me about the security, your staffing plan with security, and do you have cameras on premise?
You have cameras on premise. It's an updated new security system. So I heard you say to the last person about 30 days. I'll confirm that that's the case, but I'm quite sure that it is, because the hotel would need that as well. And I have a security company that I'm speaking with now that they're ready to go as soon as we can.
Okay.
So that it's a professional, security company.
Okay. Do you restrict ages, certain age groups after a certain hour?
I mean, obviously 21 plus, but it's sort of difficult. I hadn't really thought about that, but it's sort of difficult to restrict groups.
That's fine. If that's not part of your business plan, that just.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it'll be monitored. I mean, the idea is to have an upscale, sophisticated crowd. It's not to have a dance club. It's not to do anything like that. It's a sophisticated, relaxed, high quality atmosphere.
Okay. So you don't plan on using.
I'm not going to say we'll never let someone in that's, kids that are 25 in, but
No, that's fine. It goes more to understanding what your business plan is. Are you going to be using promoters or having cover charges for events or for?
Not promoters, no, but there may be times where, say, it's like, Memorial Day or 4th of July where we may sell tickets just to keep control of the crowd or the guests but it's not going to be like, a ticket thing all the time. It's just if there's like a special event, we would consider selling tickets.
Okay.
If allowed. I mean, I'm open
Kristen,
to.
that would just be the rooftop, right?
Yeah. Selling tickets to us, I think it's a better plan because to me, it keeps things sort of in control. So you're not just having like random people show up and crazy crowds. I think it's a sort of a crowd control way of doing things. But again, I'm open to, if you tell me that's not a good idea, we won't do it.
Okay. No, I'm not saying it's not a good idea, but you want to just familiarize yourself with some of the conditions around like turning that into a private event with tickets. Okay, I'm gonna turn it over to Rebecca to see if I missed anything. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get my bearings here after the last.
I don't have any further questions. Oh, actually, sorry. Do you ever plan on do you intend on applying for one-time licenses for Live on the Rooftop?
The only time I guess we would do that would be if we have like a wedding or an event. So we also want to cater to our hotel guests. So I can't speak to, it's my first time being there. So I don't know what type of events will be requested or booked. So if there's a wedding and somebody wants someone to sing, I would apply and certainly try to fulfill that request.
Dr. Joyce, Director Fu, any further questions before we move to testimony?
Nope.
Okay. Are there any individuals who would like to testify, beginning with elected officials or their representatives? Connor, I've asked you to unmute.
Thank you. Madam Chair, Connor with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. This time the Mayor's Office is to defer to the judgment of this board. Some background information in the community process. So ONS had hosted a butters meeting on April 1st. It was well attended with over 40 attendees. Overwhelmingly, there was a voicing of opposition to this proposal. As previously stated, the community had suffered kind of disturbances and noise issues from the previous tenant at this location, a previous operator at this location, which residents did not feel there was sufficient trust to support any type of music amplification on this premise. I think they were in contact with West Broadway. So the Civic, I understand, is not taking a stance, but directing members to write letters to the board here, if they feel strongly about the issue. We've received, I think more letters just came in today. We've received close to 200 letters or signatures on a petition in opposition to this proposal, citing the residential character of the neighborhood. A number of the signatures are from adjacent buildings, either at 141 Dot Ave or 4 West Broadway. These residents don't feel it's appropriate and wanted to make a distinction. They feel their neighborhood is separate and different from the Seaport, which has more kind of entertainment options. So with that information, we will defer to the board at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Connor. Are there any other elected officials or their representatives who would like to provide testimony before we move to general testimony? Great. For members of the general public who wish to testify, once again, please do utilize the raise hand function, which you can find under React. We will call on individuals in the order that they appear. First hand I see raised is from Sebastian Cavalier. I'm going to ask you to unmute. You may please provide your testimony. You'll have 2 minutes to do so.
Hi, how are you? Can you hear me well?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. So my name is Sebastian Cavalier. I live at 9 West Broadway with my wife. I sent an email to a few of you, including Rebecca Fu, and just want to highlight that, there's 7 buildings with almost 1,000 residents that lives near, the Cambria Hotel, and that will be impacted by that proposition. Historically, we could hear the noise, and I'm not talking about live music. I'm talking about non-live music. All the time they were operating, from early in the morning to late at night, and the sound was, reverberating everywhere, in the building. I'm not facing the Cambria Hotel. I'm in the courtyard, and the courtyard, we could hear noise all day long, and it was conversation noise. It was not, concert, no DJ. It was just, small, quiet music, ambience music, which is what the tenant wants to do. So, just wanted to add that, it's a new tenant, I understand, but our complaints, we had hundreds of complaints in the past. They were never, they never responded to the neighborhood. And, it ended up being, closed at some point. So, that's my comment here, and I'm strongly opposing, the any noise, any music at the venue. And just to add something here to the board, there has been no modification of the rooftop that has been made to soundproof, the rooftop. No panel was added, no change in the speakers, no trees that were put around the rooftop. And just one more thing, the first speakers is less than 3 feet away from the door of the 14 West Broadway. So, it's just going to be a nuisance for the neighborhood. But that's it for me.
Thank you. The next hand I see raised is from David Green. Mr. Green, I'm asking you to unmute. You'll have 2 minutes to provide your testimony. Oh, no, Mr. Green, you're still on mute. Here we go.
I'm David Green, 9 West Broadway, and I did send an email with my concern. So the prior illegal operation is helpful in teaching us about how sound travels. So from our experience last time, it was so loud that the dishes in our house rattled. We couldn't open our windows. We couldn't possibly sit on a deck. And when I went downstairs, it was much quieter on the first floor than up here on the sixth floor. So where you measure the sound is quite variable. And it was quite intense when it wasn't the actual dance band and pounding. It was a continual ambient sound, like elevator music, nonstop. So I'd like us to focus on the principle that neighbors don't intrude on other people. And to me, that should be the premise. I don't care what they do within the building, but we should not be hearing it outside the building. And I'll stop at that.
Thank you for your testimony. David Bradshaw, I see you raising your hand, so I will ask you to unmute as well. You may provide your testimony. You'll have 2 minutes to do so.
Thank you, sir. I'm David Bradshaw. I'm a resident of 141 Dorchester Avenue, also on the 6th level of the building. I did submit a letter in strong opposition. I was one of the people that lived through the very unfortunate events of 6 West, and I just want to really reiterate the effect that it had on me and my family. I have a school-age child. Even with the modest volume levels, the non-live volume levels, we were struggling with homework. I work from home. I was struggling to concentrate working at home. Mr. Green just made a very valid comment. The elevation really affects how the sound travels, and it seems we're at the same level in 2 different buildings, and we're equally affected very badly by what I would describe as quite modest noise levels. So I appreciate the notion that we should be measuring sound, if indeed any sound is permitted, but we need to be very careful about how we go about doing that, because there were some days where I was in my apartment, could not get a single bit of respite in any square inch of my apartment from the noise, but I went down to the street level and I couldn't hear anything. So I'm in strong opposition of this simply because it affects hundreds of people for hours at a time. And I don't think there's anything we can do to control that noise. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bradshaw, for your testimony. I don't see any other hands raised. I'll just pause for a moment to ask, are there any other individuals who would like to testify who have not yet done so? Michael D., I'm going to ask you to unmute. You'll have 2 minutes to provide your testimony.
Hi, good afternoon. I just wanted to voice my opposition to this proposal. I had sat through the last regime where the music was reverberating off of the wall, almost causing almost a tunnel-like effect down to the terrace and into the front driveway. It was extremely irritating, and again attempts to communicate with the previous groups to no avail. My main concern is safety. If people were to at total capacity 240 people exiting the hotel at 2 o'clock in the morning into arguably the busiest intersection in South Boston. I know previous venues such as the Envoy, they have the roads blocked off for pedestrian safety, as well as while these people venture out of the hotel, they would come into, again, the busiest intersection, as well as congregate around the area waiting for their Ubers and whatnot, which would be very disruptive to the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony. The next hand I see raised is from Marcy Jackson. Ms. Jackson, I'm going to ask you to unmute, and you will have 2 minutes to provide your testimony.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Here we go. Marcy Jackson. I live at 9 West Broadway. I have submitted a email to the board, and along with that, 168 signatures on a petition in direct opposition to this request for outdoor entertainment. When there was illegal outdoor entertainment, I worked directly with the licensing board violation officers to report to video to inform them of when activity was taking place. There were multiple violations. After they had been told, it seemed like there were other things that happened. The Cambria Hotel and its staff, who will, I suggest, be the ones managing this since the license is under their name and not Ms. Jenkins, have shown no ability to manage any type of activity like this on their roof. Now, Ms. Jenkins, who I read her resume on the website for her restaurant in Beacon Hill, which I believe she's only been operating for around a year and has no prior restaurant experience, let alone any outdoor entertainment experience. I suggest the hotel and Ms. Jenkins may not necessarily be the right fit for this type of use. But the overall issue I have, and you've heard from people how it's disrupted their lives, is basically that this is a residential neighborhood. It started as a residential neighborhood. The Cambria came after the fact. We are a densely populated residential neighborhood. We have narrow streets. We have very few commercial establishments. You can't compare us to the Seaport that is basically a mecca for entertainment. And there is a reason why the licensing division has not approved any outdoor entertainment on Broadway, to my knowledge. And I searched the records because this is a community. It is not a business commercial thoroughfare. We don't have the big boulevards, the avenues, etc. The responses we got from Mr. Hensler were almost insulting to us as a neighborhood because—
Ms. Jackson, you are over your 2 minutes, so just in case, just if there are any final points you'd like to make.
Listen to their responses. They don't have any disregard for our neighborhood. This is our home and we need to protect it, and we're hoping the licensing division does just that. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your testimony. Are there any other individuals who would like to testify on this matter who have not yet done so? Following the testimony we have heard, are there any further questions or comments from Director Joyce or Director Fu?
Attorney Green, if I may, can I just say one thing to wrap up?
Absolutely.
With this application and the conversations we've had with the neighborhood, again, we aim to strike a balance that is fair to everyone. With light music, we will strive to make it heard only on the rooftop. And lastly, I'd like to stress, I can't stress this enough, this is a new operator. And I think that the neighbors will find them much more responsive and responsible. And with that, thank you.
Thank you. If there are no further individuals who would like to testify and no further questions from the Entertainment Division, then the division will take this under advisement and will— oh, sorry, there is one hand that was just raised. Michelle Nolan, I'm going to ask you to unmute and you'll have up to 2 minutes to provide your testimony.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
I just have a question regarding I know that it's going to be run by Kristen, but is the Cambria also going to be involved? Because I feel like they're responsible for the building and what goes on inside the hotel.
I can answer that by kind of framing the relationship between the two, the management company and the hotel. We again, as I mentioned at the beginning of my presentation, Essex House Hospitality LLC is a management company. They just got approved with a management agreement with the Cambria Hotel by the Boston Licensing Board. What that means is that they will operate the restaurant and restaurant spaces and the room service in the hotel, which includes the entertainment. However, the entertainment areas that we're talking about today, however, the license will be in the name of the licensee, the hotel, but it will be managed by the management company, which will go into effect once the ABCC, the state agency that regulates liquor, approves that management agreement. But as far as this is concerned, they will be directly involved with the management of the entertainment, which is why Kristen has been so heavily involved in these discussions.
And so when the club ends,
Not a club.
The restaurant, whatever you want to call it, the entertainment, at the end of the night, and people are gathered in front of the Cambria Hotel, as they do in front at 1:32 in the morning, who's going to be sort of policing that? Is the Cambria going to be,
Both the Cambria and the management company will be policing that. They don't want the sidewalks crowded. There will be a dispersal plan in place that might involve staggering people, so not everyone is ejected at once onto the streets. So that is definitely something that we will be cognizant of, and will work to minimize the impact on the neighborhood, especially at closing time.
Also, you're billing this as like this upscale, elegant kind of loungy vibe.
It will be.
Why have TVs? That kind of,
Well, I don't have the Red Sox at home. I don't know about you because of Nesson.
Right, but if you go to like an upscale loungy place, you're not going there to watch the Red Sox.
Well, I am, but I think others will be. It's just an amenity for the guests.
Thank you. We're going to move on to the next hand I see raised, which is from an S. Dietrich. You may please provide a testimony. I'm going to ask you to unmute, and you'll have 2 minutes to provide a testimony.
Yes, thank you very much. It's Susan Dietrich, and I'm a resident at 9 West Broadway. I think the effects of, on the peaceful environment for the residents, I think that's pretty obvious. I think less obvious are the effects that are going to be on our real estate value. I think that this is a very bad plan to have disrupted music that we can hear in the evening. I would like to turn the rest of my time over to Marcy Jackson.
Thank you, Ms. Dietrich. Ms. Jackson has already provided more than 2 minutes of testimony and has submitted a letter. Director Joyce.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We'd like to hear from Ms. Jackson.
Well, we have submitted information to Marcy, so she is summarizing for us. So I would like to turn the rest of my time to her. Thank you.
Hang on one moment. Director Joyce is asking to be unmuted.
Yeah, we're going to have to move on. If Marcy Jackson wants to submit that summary in writing, we have received the letters of opposition. They are part of the public record. We will review them before we decide, but we're not going to be able to give additional time to somebody who has already taken up more than 2 minutes. So we have a process, and I respectfully ask that you allow us to follow the process.
Thank you. Are there any other individuals who would like to testify on this matter who have not yet done so? Once again, any comments can be submitted in writing to mocal, M-O-C-A-L, at boston.gov. That will all be considered part of the record and will be given the same amount of weight as any oral testimony shared during this afternoon's hearing. Okay, if there are no further comments and no further questions from Director of Joyce, Director Fu, then the Entertainment Division will take this under advisement and will issue a written decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Calling
the next item on now this afternoon's agenda. The applicant is Cisco Brewers Distillers Vintners Fenway Inc., doing business as Cisco Brewers Fenway, located at 1301 to 1305 Boylston Street. The application before the Entertainment Division is to add the entertainment categories of disc jockey, dancing by patrons, karaoke, table games, up to 3 instrumentalists, up to 3 vocalists, trivia, stage play, and floor show for 7 days a week until 1 a.m. Who's present on behalf of the applicant?
Good morning, Attorney Green. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, we can hear
you. Dennis Quilty, attorney representing the applicant before you this morning. this afternoon, actually, representing Cisco in the Fenway. With us this morning are Jay Harmon, the principal of Cisco Brewers, Debbie Briggs, the chief administrative person at Cisco, Joe Dunn and Declan Megan, who will be operations management for the site, and Skylar Patrick, who is the proposed manager of record. I do want to suggest at the outset that we have recently been given zoning relief for the live entertainment use that is requested. Just for the board's edification, that zoning hearing was held on February 25th, and we have a completed decision. Our appeal period has run, so the zoning is in place for this application to proceed. I do want to make some corrections. It's a little confusing on the agenda. I think, just to clarify, the 1 a.m. is inside only. This site consists of two separate portions, if you will. And just for background, this is the former Tasty Burger and Our Father's Deli, which existed for many years on this site. The building which housed Tasty Burger and Our Father's is the part of the site that would have a 1 a.m. closing hour. They intend to have the building be open year round. The beer garden, of course, is seasonal only. So that 1 a.m. Suggestion is only for the inside of the building. And a couple of other corrections, if you will. We have asked to remove the request for stage play, and I want to make it clear that the request for the floor show is only for a comedy presentation once on an occasion. It is nothing else other than that. So we just want to make that clarification as well. Because of the two, one inside, one outside, I think it would be helpful for me to just go through, if you will, or recite the hours of operation that we're looking for both live and recorded music. The outside beer garden, the hours of operation are requested as follows. Monday through Friday, it's open from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. Live music, which is acoustic music, goes from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Shuts down at 8. Between the hours of 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. is background recorded music only. So the maximum live is 8 p.m. The maximum recorded is 10 p.m. Slightly different on Saturdays, Sundays, and holidays, where we are open from 12 noon to 10 p.m. Live music, again, from 4 to 8 p.m. And recorded music on both sides of the live, that would be from noon till 4, and again from 8 till 10. So I think that kind of describes what we're looking for. This is the same information that we have given to the Fenway Civic Association, who I believe have submitted a letter of support. It's the same information we discussed at our very successful abutters meeting, same information we discussed at our licensing board hearing, and the same information we discussed at our zoning board of appeals hearing. In regard to outreach that we've made, we had an ONS abutters meeting. We had two meetings plus a number of communications back and forth with the Fenway Civic Association. We have, just as an example of our attempt to cooperate, in agreement with the Fenway Civic, our zoning permission is granted to this petitioner only, which means that no other operator can come in without getting the same relief that we got. They asked us to do that. We did it, and we're very happy to have done so. We made outreach to the Kenmore Association. They were supportive at our abutters meeting and our zoning hearing. We also met with Councilor Durkin, who has written a letter of support for our previous hearings, and I'm informed she's sending a representative this morning to speak in favor. Thanks to the good work done by our operations people, Joe Dunn and Declan Megan, they reached out to the Boston Police Department captain to discuss operational matters such as pickup and drop off for rideshare. We're very happy to let you know that the captain has approved the pickup and drop off area on Richard Ross Way. So we're trying again to attempt to work around neighborhood issues in operating our business without overburdening the community. Let's see. I think that's it. Flores, our sound engineer, Ascentech, is here with us this morning if there are any questions on that regard, And I think we would be ready to take your questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Give me 1 second. Okay.
Yep. I'm sorry if I may just interrupt one further. So just as you know, and I certainly want to make sure anyone here knows, this is very similar to the operation that these same applicants have had in the Seaport neighborhood for the last 5.5 years. It's also very similar to operations in this immediate neighborhood, the Trillium and Park Plaza area. There are a couple of the beer gardens on the Esplanade, not that far away. So it's very similar to those operations and very similar to the operation that these same people have run in the Seaport for the last, as I said, 5.5 years.
Okay. No, thank you. So again, for purposes of Rebecca, who isn't on the alcohol hearings, could you walk us through the capacity in just a broader description of the space? I know I'm on both boards there, but it's helpful for Rebecca, who is helping with writing the decision, to talk through the space.
We will be happy to, if we have not already, we have a very good floor plan highlighting where various actions take place or where certain service options take place. I'll be happy to provide that immediately after. But again, it consists of 2 separate areas. Seasonally, it's the outdoor beer garden area, which is, if you think of the space, it's the outside parking area of the original Tasty Burger building. So that's that area, the parking area is where the beer garden would take place. The stage that will be set up for entertainment faces away from the residential Boylston Street neighbors and in the direction of Fenway Park. That was chosen, of course, to comply as much as possible with reduction in noise levels. We have also created sound barriers around the facility for the purpose of reducing noise. The outside capacity is 706, which, just to give you a scale, the Seaport capacity is 200 plus higher than that, 900 and change, almost 1,000. And again, the way these operate is that it's people coming and going. So people will come, enjoy a couple of drinks. We would assume that there'll be people before a Red Sox game, before a concert at Fenway. And again, by the time either of those actions take place, we're closed down and done for the night. So this is much more a kind of after work, gather around with your friends, come out of the offices, go in and enjoy some craft beers, some food, etc., some light music. And the indoor capacity is 49, which would be the year-round component. And again, I mean, there's a very, very accurate plan that I can provide you immediately after the hearing, if it hasn't already been provided.
We have a floor plan.
Okay.
Do you have a staff person who can be the point of contact should there be noise complaints that arise?
Yes, ma'am. We were asked about that at our butters meeting, and the answer is yes. I'm trying to think. I know at the Seaport, literally Joe Dunn, who's one of the operating managers, is the person who deals with these issues. Joe, if you're with us, which I believe you are, can you confirm who is, or would it be Skylar? Skylar's the proposed manager of record, by the way. Joe, can you raise your hand if you're here?
Yeah, it's Skylar. We met with the local neighborhood, and Skylar has given his number, plus his assistant, Monica. So they've already given their numbers. And they will be posted inside the venue. Anyone that needs to get in touch with, for noise complaints or anything like that, trash or anything else we need.
And Joe, that was given to the Fenway Civic, is that correct?
Correct, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, and then for purposes of the public record, what is the purpose of the dancing by patrons? Is there a dance floor? Are you going to move tables and chairs
we see it happen often. If one of the earlier applicants suggested when people move around, I mean, I've been at this long enough to know that places get written up when people start moving. If there's no dancing by patrons allowed for, it occurs at Cisco. We asked for it at Cisco, at the Seaport rather. It's been granted. It's just another amenity. There are, as you can imagine, large outdoor, some enclosed tented areas where people just naturally try to move to the music, and that's about all it is. But again, to be on the safe side, we wanted to apply for it, and if granted, have it on the license so we don't have any questions if the licensing, if your staff comes looking. So that's why it's there.
Okay. Rebecca, I'm going to turn over to you to some of these questions I think that we're working off of. I think we did get answers through the testimony, but in case you need further information, I'll let you jump in.
Will Cisco have special events like weddings, private events where there might be a dance floor, anything like that?
It's a good question. I don't think we've had a wedding, but we've certainly had.
We've had one wedding in the Seaport.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Joe, please take that. And we do a lot of corporate events. So
yeah, we do a lot of events after work, a lot of corporate events. But we wouldn't have a specific dance floor for them. No, it's not the vibe we sort of put off there.
And then, can you tell me about how many managers are on duty and their experiences, Skylar's experience?
Do you want let Skylar talk to that? He's on the call here now.
Yeah.
There we go. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, so my name is Skylar. I am the manager on duty down here in the Fenway. I've been with Cisco Brewers since just after COVID. I've worked in the food and beverage industry for about 15 years now. I was the manager on duty in our New Bedford location, where we have a similar relationship with the surrounding neighborhood, working with the neighbors, a lot of relationship building there. And then for the past 2.5 years, I've been the director of operations regionally across all the properties. So I will be down here. Yeah, I've worked with Mallory, Marie, several folks on the FCA board. We've spoken with neighbors individually, and I'm happy to communicate. Everyone on site has my number, Monica's number. We address these issues rather quickly. We're pretty open book.
And if after the hearing, if you could provide Skylar and Monica's information to the licensing division. How many managers are on duty if you're not there, or how many other managers are there?
Skylar, you're muted now.
Sorry. Yeah, so we have at least 3 managers on duty, supervisors at all times. Myself, Monica, Joe and Deck are always there. We have Bill Guerra. We have a few others that are working with, as well as the head of security, who helps manage crowd control, works directly with relationships of people coming and going. And those people are all crowd control certified, and there's a large staff on site there maintaining that as well.
Due to the high capacity, do you foresee long lines ever on the sidewalks? How would that be managed? How would the crowds be managed?
Yeah, so I think before and after games, there is always a large volume flow, like in and out of Fenway Park. We've been working with, I know Joe and Declan have been working with the local police to understand the best queue line to set up if there is one. And that is heavily managed by our head of security and folks who are at the front, with an entrance on the Jersey Street side, which is not on Boylston. So the line and the entrance comes in on Jersey Street, and the main egress will be out on the Boylston end. And that's all maintained by our presence of trained security folks at the door.
And then, do you restrict age groups? Is it 21 plus only, or?
Yeah, so it's similar to what we do in Seaport. It is 21 plus, wristbands and IDs at the door. You can be accompanied by a parent or guardian if you're under 21, but that has to be a true parent or guardian. It's not just an older friend. It's got to be a true parent or an established relationship.
But Tyler, your experience in the Seaport, this is a very family-friendly operation. People come with their kids, they come to have food and enjoy the open air. We see it a lot.
Yeah.
I think we'll continue. Yeah, Joe?
Yes, yeah.
Is there ever an age restriction after a certain hour?
It's like the Seaport. I don't think parents will be bringing kids in after when it's dark. It's more of a day after work thing, and afternoons, Friday or Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon. We don't really ever have that problem. You might have some tourists in town coming to see a Red Sox game, parents with their kids and, before they go back to the hotel. But, we don't, we case by case basis, basically.
Okay. And do you use outside promoters?
No, we don't.
And will there be cover charge at any point?
No.
How many security staff do you have on duty typically or on weekends?
We have one lead, 4 supervisors. I'm not sure, Skylar, do you know what we have?
Yeah, I mean, depending on the volume in the day, but when there is a Sox game or an event going on, there are at least 15 security staff on site. And like we said, there's one lead, several supervisors who are running that.
Cameras on premise, how long are they retained?
Yeah, we have a plan to install cameras on premise. There were some that were here. We're just trying to test them out, make sure they work. So the building's been abandoned for a few years, but we'll get those turned up.
Okay, perfect. So if you can submit a security dispersal emergency and operation plan to us.
Yep, that's no problem.
Thank you. That's all the questions that I have.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any individuals who would like to testify on this matter, beginning with elected officials or their representatives?
Yes, thank you. Connor Newman with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. At this time, we'd like to defer to the chairwoman's judgment. Some background information in the community process as we've testified at the licensing board and at the zoning board of appeals. We hosted a butters meeting on January 16th, at which there were 2 supporters who came on. There was no concerns expressed in that particular meeting. Our office later received 3 letters from abutting residential properties with concerns regarding excessive noise from the outdoor facility at night. There are a number of healthcare professionals who work various different shifts who reside in that neighborhood. The Fenway Civic Association was in support of this proposal as a result of commitments made by this operator in regards to soundproofing measures. The FCA requested that they re-engage with the community on noise-related issues as Boylston Street is heavily residential in direct proximity to the site. With that information, we'll defer to the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other elected representatives or elected officials or the representatives who would like to testify on this matter before we move to general?
Hey there.
Mm-hmm.
Good afternoon. This is Samantha Courage on behalf of Councillor Sharon Durkin's office of District 8. The councillor would like to voice her support for the proposal. She sent a letter previously, but also wanted us to vocalize our support here on this platform. And we appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I do see a hand raised from Timothy Horn. I'm going to ask you to unmute, and you may have up to 2 minutes to provide your testimony.
All right. Can you hear me?
We can.
All right. Thank you very much. My name is Tim Horn. I'm president of Fenway Civic Association. I did send you a letter previously.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to reinforce the idea that Cisco came to us and with this proposal, and we had them present to the entire board rather than just our licensing committee because it was important and touchy. They took our questions, they went away, they came back with professional input and met with our entire board. And then again, there were still a few questions. They went away and then they worked with our licensing board and had several other meetings with them and did a walkthrough of the facility in order to think about sounds and other problems. So there's been a lot of process and a lot of back and forth. And I really like that fact that they've been willing to work with us. We have a board member that lives directly abuts this project, and she has the phone number of the operators so that she can help kind of mitigate if there's problems that go on, because that is one of the concerns of the Civic Association. I would also like to point out there's an open roof bar at Sojuba, which was the old Remy's, which is just across the street. And we've never had problems with noise and sound from that operation. And, so I really feel like it'll be okay for the residents on the south side of Boylston Street. North side of Boylston Street is, of course, the entertainment district, so I'm not so concerned about that side of the street. So I would just like to give you my reassurance that we really trust that we've had a good process, and we would like to see successful businesses succeed in the neighborhood, and people that are responsible and regard the neighborhood as and want to be neighbors. That's who we want to support, and we want to see these businesses succeed, and we support this applicant. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Are there any other individuals who would like to testify on this matter? The Entertainment Division will take this matter under advisement as well and will issue a written decision.
Thank you.
Thank you. Calling the final item on this afternoon's agenda, the applicant is the Bowery Presents LLC, doing business as The Stage at Suffolk Downs, located at 525 William McLennan Highway in East Boston. The application before the Entertainment Division is to maintain and operate entertainment categories consisting of audio devices, projectors, instrumental and vocal music, disc jockey, floor show, dancing by patrons, and athletic events on a tentative 2025 schedule, with events ending no later than 10:30 p.m. Again, the dates that are currently tentative and have been submitted are May 30th, June 7th, June 20th, 21st, June 27th, August 2nd, 3rd, 22nd, and 23rd, September 5th, 6th, 7th, 13th, 20th, and 25th, and October 3rd. Who is present on behalf of the applicant?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Attorney Green, Director Fu, Kristen Scanlon for the applicant. With us this afternoon is the General Manager, Julia Chapouris, who has over 15 years of experience, I think 16 now, managing venues for Bowery in New York City, and joined the team in Boston last year. Also here with us today is VP of Operations Hal Gould. We're unfortunately missing SVP for Bowery, Josh Body, who you're accustomed to seeing now. He's currently on a plane somewhere. So Julia is definitely going to take the lead for us today and is well versed and is the primary person on the ground at the stage at Suffolk Downs. By way of background, and as the board is aware, Bowery had its inaugural concert season at the stage at Suffolk Downs in 2023. As a refresher, the outdoor venue, which is mainly general admission, can accommodate up to 8,500 concert goers. For comparison's sake, the Pavilion in South Boston is about 6,000 folks, TD Gardens 12,000, and Fenway about 35,000. The proposed concert and community event season for this year is from May through October for 2025, with most concert dates falling on a Friday and Saturday, with the exception right now of 2 falling on a Sunday and 1 on a Thursday in September. Overall, the second season went very well, and as always, Bowery is committed to continuing to be good neighbors in East Boston and strive to create a place that folks are happy to have in the neighborhood. With 2023 being the first year of operations, as with any of their venues and certainly with outdoor venues, Bowery adapted and implemented changes as needed from the first season into the second season for 2024. And adjusted mid-season throughout as necessary as well in order to improve and optimize operations. I'm going to turn this over to Julia in a moment, but of note, some of those improvements they put in place for the 2024 season, which were proved to be successful, and they'll continue into the 2025 season, include a live event hotline with calls and texts monitored in real time on event days, the reduction of the sound decibel limit that they self-imposed that worked well for 2024 as an adjustment from 2023. So they'll continue with that this year as well and keep the level the same for this coming season. And sound monitoring will also be ongoing within the venue, as well as having sound engineers going through the neighborhood as well as needed. As far as community process is concerned, we are scheduled to meet with the Orient Heights Neighborhood Council this coming Monday, April 14th. So we can certainly report back to MoCal once that meeting has occurred, as I'm sure the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services will as well. But at this time, I'd like to hand it over to Julia, who can run through the summary of the various plans, including the Transportation Management Plan, noise, communication, security, operations, emergency plans, and the like.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Kristen. Thank you for your time this afternoon. I know it's been a long meeting we've had. Kristen, I'm so sorry to correct you, but I've been with Bowery now for over 20 years. Just went over that last summer, but for the record. Last year was my first year as general manager at Suffolk Downs. I was not there in 2023. Coming back this year, I'm really excited to just continue what we were doing last year and just make it better and better. As Kristen kind of covered kind of broad strokes, but I'll kind of go down the line. Communication wise, we've got our websites, we have socials, we have know before you go emails that go out to all the fans that provide all sorts of information, whether about parking, timing, any sort of those arrival details. We're also in touch with MoCal, as you all know, Captain Bickerton and the District 7 station with details, as well as community leadership. Sean with the Orient Heights Neighborhood Council, who we were in touch with, just communicating ahead of events and after events, whether that's details like timing, expected crowd, expected genre, and then after the fact, in particular, reporting any complaints that may have come in through our hotline or email or on site for any reason, and any sound decibel readings that we do. As far as transportation and parking, we work with Boston Police Department, Revere PD, State Police, and MBTA, all kind of coordinated effort because we are kind of on that line between East Boston and Revere with that highway there. So getting traffic into our parking lots. We have a rideshare area set up that worked really well last year. And then also we have the Suffolk Downs T station, just, less than a 10-minute walk from our entry gate that we really encourage people to use. And we provide all that kind of information ahead of time. Operationally, as Kristen touched upon, we're really planning to, do what we were doing last year, but just better and just really have a lot of consistency from the security check, metal detectors, bag check, wands, hand wands, get people in the building, doing our ID check at the front. Everybody who's 21 plus gets a wristband. Under 21 get X's on both hands. So it's kind of a double check in those cases. Anyone who's intoxicated or underage, once inside intoxicated, we do not let them in or then, ask them to leave and escort them out off the premises. We have a 10:30 curfew in place. And for our weeknights, we have self-enforced a 10 p.m. curfew just to offer a little bit of relief on those nights to the community if there is, people who have work the next day. We're also, as we did last year, cutting off alcohol sales 60 minutes prior to the end of the event, which is something that was recommended last year and that we did put in place and will continue to do so. Really quick, I know I'm going on a lot. We have a private ambulance and EMS that we have on site, so we're not putting any pressure on the city on that regard. So those are on site in place, again, similar to what we did last year. Let's see. We have our cameras on site. I believe the footage can be kept up to 6 months, up to 180 days. So to answer that question ahead of it coming up. And then noise emanation, again, Kristen really touched on this, but we'll be doing sound readings again at front of house, which is the sound mix position in the venue, at the fence line on Waldemar Avenue, which is where our main abutters are, as far as our closest abutters, and then also as needed, requested, or just sort of our own volition in the neighborhood, which we did last year. As mentioned, we have our hotline that can accept calls and texts in real time during our events, which we have somebody on that phone all during that time. There's also an email address if people want to contact us before or after the event with questions or any concerns or comments. And then as far as trash and cleanup, we have our crew that works throughout the site all night. At the end of the night, we have lots of bins at the exit. So as people are leaving, we're getting all that in as much as we can on our own premises. And then our crew will go through the neighborhood and the pedestrian path towards MBTA and through the lots just to clean up anything to kind of really have less of an impact and, very, very minimal impact on our neighbors. Thank you.
I just have a couple questions. You mentioned, and so did Attorney Scanlon, the sound monitoring. I know the captain has requested that you share the results of the sound monitoring with him. I'm going to request if it's possible to submit those results after each event. I think it would be helpful for us to be able to see them as the season goes on and in real time respond to any issues that might come up. It's more helpful if we could see them as you after each event. Other venues do that. And if that's, we can talk through that, whether it's every event or every series of events, but it's good to have those as a conversation starter should any issues come up. And then for your communication plans, as these events come up, please put on any marketing material pending city approval. I know you have to announce them before they're necessarily approved, but that way people aren't, neighbors can understand that there's still a process that we're going through. Are there any changes this year to your transportation and traffic or parking plan from last year? It's the same as last year? I think you did say that. Okay.
Yes, that is correct. And just a note, just to respond, for the marketing materials we have everywhere on our website and anywhere that information going out, those notes are on there.
Okay. If you mentioned this, I apologize. I'm just going to ask you to repeat again. Can you walk me through your security staff breakdown? How many internal security staff you have, how many outside security staff you have, and how they're identified?
It's all through a third-party vendor that we work with directly. We have, depending on, the crowd expected for a show that we might have 2,000 people, we would look at certain positions if we could bring that down, but anywhere between 55 and 65 security staff, including supervisors and the security manager on site. A combination of, stationary posted positions at the main entry points, any emergency exits that we have around the perimeter, the backstage artist compound staff area that are restricted to working personnel, and then roamers that go throughout the site and kind of work through the crowd because it is a general admission space. So there's obviously, a lot of spaces to flow.
Okay, and how are they identified? Do they wear shirts that say staff?
They have shirts and also the high-vis vests as well, just to make them easier to spot. And they also work directly with our EMS, our on-foot EMS, and then also the ambulance provider for any, issues with medical. They have flags that they kind of hold up in the field to kind of, once they've called them on the radio, because everyone has their two-way radios throughout the site to communicate that. So they're easily found in a quick manner.
Okay, and I know last year you were considering asking patrons to use clear bags. Are there any bag restrictions this year?
Just the 14 by 14. We're going to stay consistent with last year, not just clear bags. A lot of our crowds are, families coming with their kids. We see that, a range of shows coming through. So, I know we had some requests last year for Avid Brothers. I had a handful of people who had their diaper bags that kind of exceeded that. We went through a full security check, but just making sure that we're accommodating our crowds correctly. But we didn't have any issues last year with doing any of those checks.
Okay, thanks. I'm going to ask Rebecca if I missed anything, and then Captain Bickerton might have some questions.
Sorry, I might have missed this. There's no reentry, correct?
Correct. I did not state that here, but that is correct. There's no reentry. If someone leaves, they have to have another ticket to come in and go through the full security check again.
I don't have any further questions. You were very thorough. Thank you.
Thank you. Captain Bickerton, thank you for joining us. I know you've been working closely with the applicant as well. If you have any comments for the entertainment division or questions of the applicant?
No, I think everything was answered. They had a great season last year. I know we have a lot more shows this year. So just continued communication is what I would ask. And obviously the bag thing sort of raises an awareness for us, just to make sure. I know we have a big concert coming up with, is it Dropkick Murphys that are coming? So I'm sure that's going to draw a pretty big crowd. So we look to make sure those things are heightened during that time. Other than that, we've worked well this past year.
Likewise. Thank you very much.
Thank you. With that, there are no further questions. Are there any individuals who would like to testify on this matter, beginning with elected officials or their representatives?
Yes, Madam Chair, Connor Newman with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. This time we'd like to defer to the judgment of the chairwoman. We know that the applicant has been working extensively with local civics and neighbors in this area, meeting with Orient Heights and communication with Harborview. And I understand that they're going to be circling back with Orient Heights as the concert season starts. So unaware of any present concerns. I think there were some concerns regarding traffic, but I believe the applicant was working closely with some residents to address those concerns. So with that, we'll defer. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any other individuals who would like to testify on this matter? Seeing none, and if there are no further questions from Director Joyce, Director Fu, then the Entertainment Division will take this matter under advisement and will issue a written decision. Thank you all. That is the last item on the agenda for this afternoon that will adjourn this hearing. Thanks, everybody.